Well, hello everybody out there in the wild, wild world of sports. Welcome to Brian's Basement, episode 62. My name's Brian, and this is my basement. And today, we've got a show that I wrote down an idea for a long time ago, way in the long times ago. And I thought I would do it this week. So what we're going to do is I thought I thought this was a good idea. We'll just tell stories, just random stories about life and stuff, and then we'll play a song about it. That's it. That's all there is to it. And so that's what we're going to do. I just came up with some stories. Sometimes I thought of the story and then the song to match it. Other times I just picked the song and I thought, what would be a good story for that? And well, here we are. These stories are neither important nor interesting, but hey, you know, that's just par for the course around here. So let me know what's going on down there in Chatland. If you have a story you want to tell, go for it. Right there in the chat where it'll be preserved forever and ever. Kim says call-in section, yeah. Man, we should bring that back. We should bring that back for the last episode. We'll do a call-in section. We haven't done that in a long time. Great. Well, let's just get started. So I'm going to read you a story. And then we'll play a song. This story is none of these stories have titles, so there you go. They're random stories. Okay, let's get started. Okay, when I was in school, I lived in an apartment-style dorm, and these were designed for 4 people, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and they were all brand new construction. And the school I was at was rapidly growing at the time, and in my second year, they added 2 more people into the mix, meaning that the rooms were now tripled up, 3 to a room. And you could choose to be doubled up, but it cost a few $100s more. And who was going to spend that? And now that I think of it, the math didn't work out at all, because it wasn't like you went from paying half to paying a third like you would in the real world if you added a roommate. It was like paying twice the amount for an apartment in Portsmouth, Ohio, but with a few $100 shaved off for being a good sport. But yeah, things weren't going well that year, and I got 2 brand new roommates. And the one guy was named Duncan, and he stayed up every night until 5 a.m. in the morning and went to bed. And then he woke back up at 5 p.m., played a little Ultima Online, and then went about his life in the nighttime doing God knows what. But I really liked Duncan. Duncan was cool. But the other guy, and I don't even remember what his name was. I think it's like repressed or something, but he was a stereotypical bad roommate. He was like loud and lazy. He was always whining about things. And the reason I knew that this guy was going to be terrible was the first time I met him when we were moving in for the second year of school. And he just had all of his clothes just piled in the closet. And he proceeded to open every drawer that the school provided with, and it was filled front to back with anime DVDs. And he was like super proud of this. And I knew right then I was going to have a bad year. And it turned out to be a pretty bad year. And so because of that, though, I had to get out of there as often as possible. And that's when I started to meet other people. So I met, Clint and the band, and everyone knows this story. I've told it 3 or 4 times on this. And it was just anything to get out of that miserable dorm. And then I remember this. I'll never forget this. It was a cold, dark night. Ooh, spooky. And I was driving back to school in the blue minivan that I drove. And I was stopped. I remember the stoplight. It was at the Sardinia, I think is how it's pronounced. It's a Sardinia stoplight on the way on Route 32. And I got a call from one of my friends, and she told me that neither Duncan or this other guy were coming back. And I just remember being so excited. I was halfway there and kind of dreading it. And it just turned everything around. So the last half of the trip, I was just pedal to the metal, turn the music up super loud. And that, to me, is the starting point of everything. It's the total 180, that phone call at that stoplight. And so I was actually just thinking about that when I drove out there. When I pulled up the stop, I was like, this is where it happened. So with that in mind, I remember the CD that was playing at the time. It was my friend Clint's CD. I was like really pumped up about this. And he had asked me to come in and, do the little recording on it at the time. And so I was listening to it and Yeah, a little burnt CDR. And so I just picked this song because it seems so fitting for the times. So this is called Boss Man. It's by my friend Clint. You see all these fences here, they belong to the man. And this old schoolyard, it belongs in his name. And all the workers here, they're controlled by his word. And the deepest river here couldn't wash his sins away. See all these beaches here, well, they belong to the man. Coarsely purchased every grain of sand, and all the shoreline here, it belongs in his name. And even the seagulls here are written in his will. If you got a problem, you can go to the man. He may open his door, but he won't shake your hand. And you can try to explain to him, but he won't understand. He'll just put you in overalls and have you work in his land. Boss Man by Clint. All right. Is anyone out there? Let's see. Let's switch it. No comments tonight. No comments tonight. Okay. Yeah. Hey, that's all right with me. I'm just sitting here telling some stories, drinking some seltzer water, and playing some songs, you know, as you do. Well, it's episode 62 out of 65. We're getting there, folks. This next story, this is a story. This is a good story. This is a story. This is a story about how I met Kim. Yay. All right. So, I often find myself trying to make things that already exist in some form. Sometimes it's in the name of idealism. Oftentimes it's in the name of idealism. Sometimes out of necessity, and sometimes just for fun. I once tried to build a carport to save a few $100. I've tried to design games to entertain myself when there's thousands and millions of games on the internet. I've built things out of these shells right here, built out of the studs I pulled out of a wall in this here Brian's basement. And the common thread is that oftentimes these things are not as good as, I can't build them as good as I can buy them. But there's always some other benefit that comes from it, so gaining skills or entertainment. And in one case, I met Kim because I wanted to meet people at school. And so instead of joining clubs or going to parties or just being generally friendly to strangers, I decided to start a pep band for basketball games. That's how dumb I am. And pep band was a disaster. And it was an early glimpse to me of how disorganized and flaky people can be. And it was just a nightmare fighting with the school and the members of the band. It was like herding cats. And this is all to accomplish a goal that requires, total alignment and synergy, making music that sounds good. So it was terrible. And I was just completely overwhelmed at the mess I was in. But I had one member that was able and willing to help out. and she was kind and practical, and she was most of all optimistic. She believed in the pep band way more than I did. She still does. I still talk shit about it, and she's no, it was, yeah. And she saw something in the pep band, and by the associative property, me. And I think about those early days and knowing each other, and you can still see all those features of who we were back then, but just kind of evolved and in different forms. And I'm glad to know that I tried to build something stupid that didn't need to exist, because now I get to build something else with Kim, and I try to keep that in mind when I'm building, a woodshed out of an old fence, or brewing equipment out of pickle buckets, or music like huddled under a blanket. So the song that I picked for this is a song by Joe Pug. It's probably my favorite Joe Pug song. I should probably tune. We got lucky last time. I didn't tune at all and played a harmonica song. This is a song that he says is the most depressing love song, but I don't personally interpret it that way. I think that's what's cool about the song, is there's a lot of ways to interpret it. It's called Pair of Shadows. If they're going to make a shadow out of me, well, I guess I'll be the shadow of the old post oak tree in the forest by your house where we used to meet. If they're going to make a shadow out of me, if they're going to make a shadow out of you, well, I hope I catch the briefest glimpse as you go passing through, as the shadow of the Lincoln that we drove to school. If they're going to make a shadow out of you, lines will disappear as we grow darker, darker than we planned at the start. And the light of morning will get us even farther, until at last you can't tell us apart. So if they're going to make a shadow out of us, casting downward to the valley like an Appalachian bluff, I was born, then I loved you, I guess that is enough. If they're going to make a shadow out of us, if they're going to make a shadow out of us. Pair of Shadows by Joe Pug. Neat. Hey, I like to say, hey, thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. We're just going to be telling stories. Telling stories, right? So this is probably like what you're supposed to do in gigs. Maybe a little shorter. Not as many stories, but this is what you're supposed to do. Okay, let's see. What's the this is a classic. This is a classic story. I tell this story all the time. This is about fixing the railroad in Portsmouth. These are all kind of in chronological order, by the way. But again, not the most important or interesting things. Just things. That's all we're doing. We're just talking about things. All right. So every Thursday was a holiday when I lived with Donnie in our ramshackle apartment in Portsmouth. Without fail, every week we would make dinner, relax alone in our rooms, our separate rooms, for a few hours, and then convene in his room in grand fashion to play video games and drink beer. It seems silly and childish, but I miss the weekly dedication to something silly and childish. You can see, I think that's why I like playing music and doing open mics and stuff like this, silly and childish. And some nights we would just stay in the room and we'd just play video games in the late hours of the night. And sometimes we would go out on the town. As neither of us could drive, being responsible folks, we would ride our bikes. So you can see that this is the start of many life trends from this one story. And every Friday we would then go to class, hungover but happy, in a sad, ritualistic way that all Friday classes are, just kind of precursors to the weekend. Fridays were my day to drive, and on the way to school, we'd cross the railroad tracks, and every single Friday, my van would bottom out in a violent fashion of these railroad tracks. It was infuriating. And one night, riding bikes past the tracks, we decided that we were in the perfect position to fix the railroad. No one else was going to. So we gathered up rocks from the railroad tracks, and we filled them up. We took our hoodies off, and we tied them into baskets, and we filled our hoodies up with rocks, and we lugged them over to the holes, and we filled up the potholes. Because we were civic heroes. We'd fixed the railroad. And on the way to school the next morning, we were happy and hungover, and we were especially excited to reap the fruits of our labor. And as we approached the crossing, to our surprise, there was a city construction crew filling in the holes. I'm sure they saw our rocks, and we took all of the credit. This is a story I tell often, and I think it's because it reminds me that no matter how stupid I am and how stupid the world is, every once in a while, they overlap into something beautiful. And so this is supposed to be a cover show, but this is the story. This is the story that basically inspired my song, Gas Station Line. So I'm going to play Gas Station Line. Thursday night is coming fast, I'm alone in my mind, thinking of them old days from another time. And I'm dreaming of the old life, the life I had to leave behind. And I'm dreaming of that gas station wine. Nothing else to do tonight, let's go to the riverside. Fresh scent of the falling rain, the darkness of the night. My lungs are filled with cold air, but I feel warm inside. 'Cause I've been drinking all that gas station wine. All this time I'm sitting in my room, wondering if everyone feels this way too. When we can't feel alive again and happy all the time again. Now it's been down a couple of years, but it seems like yesterday. You said you weren't a drinker, but I showed you the way, and I brought you a bottle. You didn't know it at the time, but you were drinking on that gas station wine. And I still see you standing in my room, looking at me the way that you used to. And I wonder if there'll ever be a time in our lives when we can't feel love again and happy all the time again. So throw your glasses in the air and raise them spirits high. Here's to the future, close nostalgic eyes. Tomorrow's gonna turn out, everything will work out fine, and we'll be drinking on that gas station wine. Yes, we'll be drinking on that gas station wine. Yes, we'll be drinking Station 1. We got some comments. Alex says, I can see the picking improvement. Thank you. I've been working very hard. And actually, for that song, it's kind of like, it's more like this in the real one. It's kind of like there's a beat of rest or whatever. But that was too much. We got to take baby steps, so I just played it straight. But thank you for noticing. Oh, yeah. Kristen says, the SSU pep band was a great time. I will never forget Brian winning the hot dog eating contest when, oh, you were there? I'm so glad. Yeah, I won a hot dog eating contest in pep band in front of the loyal Shawnee State Bears fans. It was for homecoming, and it was one of these speed deals. It was just like, who can eat the most hot dogs in like 3 minutes? And I ate like 6 hot dogs or something. It was crazy. And I don't remember exactly. I tell that story, and people are just like, that's not that many. I'm like, no, it was a lot. It was gross. It was really, Kim says it was like 90 seconds. I don't know about that. It was gross. It was like during a timeout during a basketball game, so it's not very much. Yeah, and that was pretty funny because, so I won. I won, and they gave me all the extra hot dogs, and I carried them triumphantly up to the band. It was really awesome. There's a really funny picture of me somewhere in like this with mouthful of hot dogs. But the cool thing from that was one of the guys I beat was like, I've never lost an eating contest. You need to join me for this pizza eating contest in town. And I was like, okay. And so the next week we went to Spencer Station in Lucasville, which is not there anymore. And we ate what was it, Kim? Do you remember? Yeah, it was called it was like a 30-inch pizza or something. It was disgusting. It took up the whole thing. And it was such a bad experience afterwards, as you can imagine what happened afterwards, that I retired from my short but successful professional eating stint. I did get a T-shirt that says, I got my big caboose at Spencer Station. So, yeah, that was fun. Great. Well, thank you for commenting. Okay. Let's do, what is that? Was that 3 songs? And I was just thinking when I was playing that song, I was like, oh, Elton John's Social Disease would have been the perfect song for that. And I actually used to know how to play that too, so missed the opportunity. But maybe we'll play that some other time to make up for it. Okay, next story. We're going to talk about it. We're just going to, we don't like talking about it. We try to hide it. And we try to force it way down inside, and so nobody knows. But we have to talk about it. We have to get it out there in the open. And this is the topic that I want to talk about, skateboarding. I love it. And I try not to tell people about it. And so I thought I'd tell a story about skateboarding. And it goes like this. I love skateboarding. There, I said it. I find it hard to admit, being a 31-year-old man at 6'1", 225 pounds on a good day. But I love it, and I always have, since I was a little kid in the driveway. And the funny thing about skateboarding is I didn't do it much as a kid because I didn't know how. I would go around in the driveway, but I didn't really know what I was doing, and I'm the coachable type of person. I like to be instructed on how to do something and then doing it as best I can and improving. And for skateboarding, being able to make it hop and to flip under your feet without holding it in your hands is a miracle. It is. How does that even work? Nobody knows. And so I would always, how do I do it? What are the steps of progression involved? Where do I go to do it? Who will take me there? And I came to learn sometime after college, when I got home, that mindset is particularly dangerous to a person who wishes to skateboard, which is all of us to some degree. It's about spontaneity and forging bravely into uncertain terrain, becoming open to the reinterpretation of the space that we take for granted. There are no instructions. There are no winners and losers. It is counterintuitive to everything else a regular adult person has to deal with in life. I am not good at it, and that's okay. And that's what makes me good at it. I think that is what Zen is. So this is a song that I've wildly interpreted to match this story, but it has the line "Don't break the shape we take," which definitely does not mean skateboarding. But I break my shape all the time skateboarding, and it's a song about freedom, and so I picked it. It's called "Slip Away." It's by a band called Perfume Genius. Don't hold back, I wanna break free, 'cause it's singing through your body, and I'm carried by the sound. Every drum, every single beat, it was born through your body, and I'm carried by the sound. Oh, oh, love, don't let them break the shape we take. Oh, oh, love, baby, let them voices slip away. Don't hold back, I wanna break free. If you never see them coming, you never have to hide. Every chance you take, if you've only got a moment, give it to me now. Oh, love, don't let them break the shape we take. Oh, love, maybe let them voices slip away. Don't let them break the shape we take. Oh, love, don't let them break the shape we take. Oh, love, don't let them break the shape we take. Oh, love, baby, let them voices slip away. All right. Yeah, Alex Seconds, "Social Disease" by Elton John. Yeah, that's a fun one. I used to play that a lot at Che, because there was a lot of that, me being a social disease. There's a lot of that everywhere we go. And speaking of that, we're going to get into our next story. Our next story is about Shamrock Dollar Beer Night. And, yeah. So, the winter of 2013 was a confluence of several events that led to one of the most impressive streaks of human achievement. First, I was finishing up my school, living at home, and somewhat working a day job. Second, I had two friends that were in between jobs that had nothing to do on Thursday nights. And third, and most crucially, it was Dollar Beer Night at the Shamrock. We don't know the number exactly, but we estimate we went to the Shamrock at least 30 weeks straight. It's over half a year. It started as just a place to get dollar beers, but eventually we started competing in the pool tournament run by a 90-year-old man named Jimmy. It was like living inside of a TV show with a familiar cast of characters, each with their own style of drinking beer and playing pool. And we made up our own billiard games when the tournament was off season. Yes, they do have seasons. And we had our own rituals and our own language. And we hung our picture on the wall. We were legends of our own story. And we ended up going our separate ways, us three friends. And even the Shamrock went separate ways, moving to a building down the street. And some of the characters are gone, moved to Florida, or moved to another plane of existence. But they're still the same pool table, and they still have our picture on the wall. Dollar Beer Night. And one of the soundtracks of Dollar Beer Night was this song that I first heard by the Kingston Trio. I got their CD from the library. Oh, that reminds me. I was talking to a friend of the show, Kristen, and she told me this weekend that I used to make fun of her for made her feel bad for ripping CDs from the library and putting them on her MP3 player. And that is a terrible take by me. You should definitely do that. And so on the public apology tour of terrible takes I had against friend of the show, Kristen, that's number 2. So there you go. Anyway, I heard it from a CD that I listened to but didn't rip because I'm a nerd. And then, but it's by a guy named Hoyt Axton. It's called Greenback Dollar. Some people say I'm no count, others say I'm no good, but I'm just a natural born traveling man, doing what I think I should. Oh yeah, doing what I think I should. And I don't give a damn about a greenback dollar, spend it fast as I can for a wailing song. The only things that I understand. Oh yeah, the only things that I understand. When I was a little baby, my mama said, hey son, travel where you will and grow to be a man and sing what must be a song. Oh yeah, sing what must be a song. And I don't give a damn about a greenback dollar, spend it fast as I can for a wailing song and an old guitar. The only things that I understand. Oh yeah, the only things that I understand. Now that I'm a grown man, I've traveled here and there. I've learned that a bottle of brandy and a song were the only ones who ever cared. Oh yeah, the only ones who ever cared. And I don't give a damn about a greenback dollar, spend it fast as I can for a wailing song and a good guitar. The only things that I understand. Oh yeah, the only things that I understand. I just had this crazy memory that I wasn't thinking of when I planned the show about that song. And I don't know if friend of the show, Tom the Bomb's out there. Newsflash, he was the one that was going to the Shamrock Dollar Beers with me. But I just remembered this, and if he's out there, maybe he can correct me on this if I'm wrong. I remember that we used to play that at Wild Mike's all the time. And I completely forgot about this until just the middle of the song, but we would play it all the time, and we'd sing that part, and I don't give a damn, like really loud in the kitchen, like when we were like in a rush and stuff. It was like, it's like the least pump-up song, but it was like our pump-up song. I don't know if I swear that's true, but I don't know, I have to check with him. He was definitely there if it happened, so yeah. Greenback Dollar. It's a great song. Hoyt Axton, he's the man. Great. We got a couple more for y'all. Hey, while we're at it, Kim, can you put up that website text and maybe point the camera down at the placard so you can see it better? We got a new show. So last week we announced the 2 Darkness shows, which are still listed there. And you'll notice there's a third one listed, Friday, August 13th at Lucius Q from 8 to 10. It's a super cool venue. Really like playing there. They've got a great sound system, really good food, good beer. It's in a cool place downtown. This is great stage. Can't say enough about Lucius Q. We were playing Sunday gigs there all 2019, and we loved playing Sunday gigs. And yeah, is it still up, Cam? Oh, you put it down. Okay. Anyway, that's 8 to 10. August 13th is Friday. We love playing there. And yeah, we came out of the pandemic somehow, and we get Friday gigs. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So come on out to those. And again, we have Friday, July 2nd is a solo show. First Friday down at Darkness, we're going to be bouncing back and forth between Nomad stage. It's like a mini music festival. That's going to be great. I'm going to hang out there, play a set, hang out all night. I'm going to have a great time. And then we've got the Darkness anniversary party in the afternoon, 2 to 4 on July 24th. So great. Hope to see you out there. I will be posting all this on my website for future reference, or you can just call or text me or send me an email. Great. New shows. Can you believe it? Wow. Let's tell a story. Would you like to hear a story, everybody out there? This is a story about open mic 2015. What a magical time. 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. I don't know why I started going to open mics again. I had been introduced to the concept in college, but I was just a part of the band. I hadn't been in the game for 2 years at that point, and I remember my friend Zach, friend of the show, Zach. He said he knew a guy who was running an open mic in Mount Lookout, and that I should go. And so I decided to go. And in my mind, it was raining. Whenever I think about open mic in those days, it's always raining for some reason. I went in and met some great people. They're still my friends to this day. A lot of them have been on this show. Almost all of them have been on this show. We still play the same songs to each other whenever we can. This is a part of the open mic I usually think about, but I often forget about the other people that came along. I felt like I was really starting out at something. I was really setting off on a journey. People were excited. Acquaintances and their friends would come out to open mic, and we'd have beers and catch up and get sushi or pizza late night. It was a whole event on a Tuesday night in an empty bar. People that were there were working late nights, and they were off during the week, as was I. And I had lots of friends like that, but not so many anymore. Many of them, like me, work in the mornings all week. And the others, well, their lives just don't overlap anymore in the same way. And the open mic at Mount Lookout has shuttered and reopened several times. And every time going back, there's just a little less magic. And you have to keep moving forward. You can never go home again. And there's a wonderful song about this sentiment. It is on one of my favorite albums called Uncle Charlie and his dog Teddy. Or is it Uncle Teddy and his dog Charlie? No, it's Uncle Charlie and his dog Teddy by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. It's a great album. It's one of my all-time favorites. And there's a song on there. It's on the bonus track. So they did a re-release. It's not on the vinyl I have. It's called Mississippi Rain, and I really like this song. I wish it was on the vinyl. I've been thinking about the river and my years there on the other side. It's got me wishing that I would come back home, but the pieces just don't fall in line. And this town's a stranger that left me far behind. Mississippi rain, you keep falling down, and the river gets wider each day. I'll be moving on, I can't stay around, and I cannot go back to yesterday. The river's much too wide river's much too wide. I left home, I started traveling, I became a southern wind, and now no longer can I go home now. I can never be a part of it again, and this town's a stranger that's left me far behind. Mississippi rain, you keep falling down, and the river gets wider each day. I've been moving on, and I can't stay around, and I cannot go back to yesterday. The river's much too wide. The river's much too Kim's got a story. It says, when I used to babysit on Thursdays in high school, my mom paid me $20 a night and a burned CD of my choice from her collection. If she didn't have something that I wanted, she went to the library. That's really cool. That's fun. Why could you just not? Why could you just not burn it normally? Was that like? Oh, not your mom. Oh, that's even cooler. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Those are the people that pay you normally, not your mom to babysit other people. Depends on how bad you were. I don't know. That's pretty funny. Yeah, and Dad says, Lucius Q, great venue. It is great. It's going to be really fun. We're so excited to be there. They, the booker there is just super nice to us. And we like that. so rare. All right. Friend of the show, Scott, got that gig, so we can all thank him for that one. Okay. This story is about it's just about one of my favorite musical stories. These stories are all about like beer and music. That is, and I was writing these and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is painting a very flat picture. I believe that there's more than beer and music to me, but that's not what these stories are about. So this is about the first time seeing the band Bailiff. Some things stick with you forever. And when those things are songs, then whoever wrote that song has done a very good thing indeed. In this case, it was a part of a song, not even a whole song. My friend Warren and I were bumming around town one night for reasons unknown. I'm not even sure what year this was. It was probably raining. There's nothing to the story I remember other than the song. We ended up stumbling into Motor, our favorite bar of all time, and it happened. Dissonant notes, repeating, ringing out from the stage. A three-piece band playing their final song of the night. The song then drops into a trance-like rhythmic riff in the lower register, and we were just stunned. The band was called Bailiff, and to Warren and myself, we thought we just saw the next big thing, the best thing. The walls of Motor are lined with show posters of bands before they made it big that played at Motor, and we just saw one of those bands. We talked about it all night. I bought CDs, I told all my friends, and I went and saw them twice more when they came to town. Then all of a sudden they were gone. They hung it up. Website news feed gone silent. No more music. Makes me sad from time to time, but I'll never forget that feeling, that ultimate goal of a musician, to completely enthrall someone for 4 minutes of an otherwise unspectacular night. Bailiff, great stuff. The song is called "In the Reverie," and it kicks off their first album called Red Balloon. It's great. I listened. It's one of the ones on heavy rotation. The old 6 CD changer in the Ford 500. But there's a song on the new Mountain Goats album, one of their singles. It's called "Get Famous," and I think it's such a funny song because I wonder how many people like me saw this band and were just like, you guys are gonna be really famous, and then them like, driving around, sleeping in the van at night, and driving around thinking, what an asshole when, So I think that's what I'm sure that there's a more deep interpretation of this song, as it's a Mountain Goat song. They're usually like that. But on the surface, I think this is just about that. People going up to you being like, you should be famous, and being like, pfft. So this is called "Get Famous" by the Mountain Goats. You were born for these flashing lights. You were born for these endless nights. You always knew sooner or later you were destined for something greater. You took notes on what you had to do to get the piece of the pie that belonged to you. You've been waiting for this ever since you were young. Be careful not to choke on your tongue. Get famous. I want you to be famous. Cold gray world, all these obedient sheep, they act like they know, but they're all sound asleep, waiting for something to wake up to, some nice juicy bone to chew. You arrive on the scene like a message from God. Listen to the people applaud. This is what you were born to do. Wesley Willis taught me how to write about you. Get famous. I want you to get famous. Light up the sky like a comet. Make yourself wanna vomit. Shine like a cursed star. Show everybody exactly who you are. Get famous. Oh, you should be famous. Go on and get famous. I want you to be famous. All right. What we got next? We got one more for you all. This is a short one. This is a short story. They're all short stories. This is a really short story. And a vague story. We can't talk about it. We can't talk about it publicly. Actually, not like the skateboarding stuff. Making big changes right now. Scary changes. Things I've always wanted to do but couldn't due to some form of fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unstable. All the time knowing I wanted to do, but held back in a stalemate. That's the story. And I'm going to play this song that I've always wanted to learn, and I finally got around to learning this week for the show. I'm very excited. We did a Brian's Boombox on this this album. This is from "Hi, How Are You" by Daniel Johnson. Or did we do Yip Jump Music? I don't know. Anyway, this is a song called "Walking the Cow." And This is another one where there's a lot of interpretations to it. A lot of people, if you go read the YouTube comments, a lot of people have got an idea about what this is about. And I don't want to impress my interpretation on anybody else. You should think of it however you want for any song, really. Even if it's one of my songs, and I've told you, you can think whatever you want. It's up to you. This song is called "Walking the Cow," and it was inspired from a Bluebell, maybe ice cream wrapper, where the girl is like pulling the cow, and the cow doesn't want to go. And a lot of people interpret this song as "Walking the Cow" is just like doing your thing. I'm just walking the cow. But I don't think of that. I think walking a cow would be terrible. Even on the picture, it's kind of like, I don't want to walk. I think a cow would do that most of the time, and then when it did get walking, it'd want to go in different directions, and it would be really kind of a disorienting experience. So that's how I interpret this song, "Walking the Cow." So yeah, this is Daniel Johnson. Oh, I got to put my harmonica on. Hold on. Oh, boy. Ow. That hurt. Ooh, this would be a really good harmonica song, actually. I'll play a less fake instrument, but only very slightly less fake. The harmonica. All right, what's next? Headphones. If anyone out there's got gear suggestions for in-ear monitors, leave it down in the comments. I'd like to know. There is so much junk in this nasty, nasty harmonica. Nope. Taking a real long time to get started on this song. All right. Oh, nope, not that one. Right. Here we go. "Walking the Cow" by Daniel Johnson.
Trying to remember, but my feelings can't know for sure. I try to reach out, but it's gone. Lucky stars in your eyes. Don't know why I came here. I really don't know why I'm staying here. Oh. I'm walking the town. Try to point my finger, but the wind keeps blowing me around in circles, in circles. Lucky stars in your eyes.
Okie dokie. Tom the Bomb says, he's 15 minutes behind the live stream. Hello from the past. Says, also, I remember belting out Greenback Dollar in the Wild Michael's kitchen. Yeah, that was a great serendipitous memory. Anyway, well, that's our show tonight, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. Like I said, we've got 3 more shows. We got 63, 64, and 65. And then we'll be in a brave new world without Brian's Basement. And so I want to thank everybody for watching tonight and for always watching and writing nice comments in the comment section and saying nice things about the show. So as always, you gotta stay safe out there. Still gotta do that. You gotta stay safe. Even if the COVIDs aren't maybe gonna get you as bad this time, you still gotta be safe out there. And generally speaking, and do something nice for yourself and do something nice for someone else. And when you do, come back and tell me about it here on Brian's Basement. Thanks, everybody. See ya next week.